Hello, this is Beastly Eel, and on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the latest episode of The Bad Batch that aired today. This was, well, before I continue, obviously, if you have not seen it, please pause the video and watch it, and then come back and see me. Um, I'll give you guys a second. So, for those who've actually watched it, this really wasn't a Bad Batch episode. It was more like a Rebels prequel episode. The reason why I say that is because we're on Talon, which is a planet where Hera from the um, Rebels grew up. And this is right after the Clone Wars, obviously. Um, so it starts off with them being, they're in this building, let's say, and the Senator of Talon, which is the big fat blue guy with the tentacles on his head, and you have it's an Imperial officer at the very least. I don't know his actual rank. And the senator is talking about how they are to give up their weapons and how they are going to, now be free and not have to worry about fights anymore. And the crowd doesn't like it. And apparently, there's a group of rebels in the crowd, trying to rally up the crowd against the Empire. And Hera's father, and we meet her mother, um, which is interesting, that we meet her. Um, I'm hoping we stay meeting her. So the big thing is, he steps forward, takes the place of the senator, and tells everyone what they went through. Reminds them that the reason why they were doing what they did was so they could finally have peace. And it finally seems like they're at that moment of peace, where they can finally let down their arms and feel safe in their own home again. And the crowd starts to go on his side. They all get excited and they agree. We see the rebels walk away. The Imperial officer says to Hera's mother, "Oh, I'm surprised Hera isn't here." And of course, Hera's mother's like, "Well, she has other plans than this, or other things that matter than this." He didn't like that comment, obviously. So we cut to Hera and Chopper. Um, Hera is much younger. I would imagine close to the same age as uh, her boyfriend when we saw him in the first episode of The Bad Batch. Around the same age, I would say. So she is doing an investigation on a site that is said to have been closed down for military operations, but it looks like the Empire is taking it over. And she's kind of watching what's happening and sees that the Empire is really taking over the entire area. Well, she gets caught. So what they do is they capture her and bring her back to the station. The Imperial officer and her father are there, and the clone trooper explains that she was there, and this can't happen, and we really. Oh no, I'm sorry. The Imperial officer was not there. The clone trooper's like, I won't report this, but she cannot do this again. And the father's, of course, yes, don't worry about it. Now, the thing that throws me off in this is that Hera's father is on board with the Empire, which is interesting. I'm surprised, mostly because in Rebels he was so anti-Empire, it wasn't even funny. Um, but again, this is a different time. It's in the past, so anything could have changed his mind, obviously. So anyway, they continue on. Hera apologizes to her father and everything, and how he explained to her that it can't happen again. And Hera's mother talks with her and asks her about the refinery. And she goes, I didn't say anything about a refinery. And her mother goes, I have my ways of finding out. And I want to know everything. So come to find out, um, it was his brother that asked Hera do it for him to get the information that was needed to help out in their rebellion. So he's not happy with it. Um, Hera's mother isn't happy with the Empire, but she's kind of on the fence on what needs to be done. I think she knows that the Empire needs to be taken down, but I don't think she's willing to risk her family right this second. So time goes by, not much. Um, Hera's uncle asks her to join a supply run for them. And she says, "No, I can't leave. I can't do it." And what happens is he convinces her to go by saying that he'd let her pilot it. And so she got very excited and she left. So she told Chopper to kind of keep her out of trouble or kind of stop everything from happening. So the big thing is we notice that Hera gets inside and she gets to pilot a little bit. Apparently, she's not allowed to do takeoffs or landings because, as the uncle said, those are the most difficult things to do. So they land off planet, but Crosshairs put a tracking device on them, so he knows exactly where they are at all times. So they land and they meet up with none other than the Bad Batch. So they're buying the guns off of Sid, who had the Bad Batch handed off to them. They do a little bit of talking. Hera and Omega have a moment. It's nice. It's sweet. They leave. The Bad Batch is gone. And they're gone for the rest of the episode, which was really surprising for me. Like I said, this isn't really a Bad Batch episode. It's more of a Rebels prequel episode. So anyway, they're on the way back, and now an Imperial ship is after them. Or on their trail, I should say. So her uncle orders, let's get them out of here. Let's get out of here as quickly as possible. Granted, they're back on Talon. Not landed yet, but they are on the planet. So Crosshair shoots their engine down and they crash land. He orders them to hurry up, and they all crowd around the group. All three are arrested. The senator of Talon wants Hera's father to go on trial because clearly he's behind this, and the Imperial officer's like, there's no proof that he is. We have proof that his daughter does, and that's all we need right now. And so she gets captured by the troopers along with the other two, and they're already labeled as traitors. So the information travels, which apparently Crosshairs and the Imperial officer are aware of and we're hoping for. So Hera's mother and father find out, and then they order to go after the cargo to save their daughter. So they go and they pretty much take out the entire garrison of troops. Now, granted, there isn't a lot of them, but still, they're able to take them out, and Hera's mother's a good shot. I'm very surprised. We know about her dad, but the mother, we weren't actually aware how much of a fighter she was. So they take out everybody, they sneak onto the ship, they shut off their communications and everything. They take everybody outside as hostages, and Hera's in the ship with Chopper waiting to go, and they're trying to convince the senator, that what he's doing is wrong and it shouldn't be done. And Hera's dad was about to shoot him, and Hera's mother said, "No, this is not the time or place." She's hinting that Hera's there. We're not going to kill the senator in front of their daughter. And he reluctantly agreed. But that's when Crosshair shoots the senator in the head and kills him. He was ordered to by the Imperial officer, and Hera's mother orders Chopper to take Hera away and get out of there as quickly as possible. So more troops come in, and they capture Hera's mother, father, and everybody else that was there helping her, and captured them. And I'm imagining they're being labeled as traitors, although that was not specifically stated. So then we have Hera on the run with Chopper, and she escapes for now. But the Imperial officer says she's not going to get away for long. We're going to send troops after her. So he sends troops after her, and Crosshairs asked if the Imperial officer wanted him to go after the other ship, meaning to go after the Bad Batch, and he said no. And that's the end of the episode. So it ended on a cliffhanger, which means we're going to be back on Talon. So I imagine the Bad Batch is going to be helping out in some sort of capacity in the next episode. How? I'm not quite positive. I imagine that Hera is going to use Chopper to get in contact with them and then have them help free her parents. Also, unfortunately, I think this is where the next episode is where Hera's mother dies, which changes her father's perspective on everything to begin with. So, yeah, this is going to be next episode. I think is going to be a little darker than I'd be wanting. It's definitely going to show. I have a feeling they're going to show that Hera's mother dying and her father really realizing that the Empire is horrendous and needs to be taken out. And like I said, the Bad Batch I think is going to help, which where they get reunited with Crosshairs again in a nice fight. That being said, that's where I think it's going for at least the next episode, and build up the tension for the end of the season. And like always, if you like the content you see, please like and subscribe below. Again, I'm going to be continuing to make these videos all month. We're only 9 days down, a lot more to go. Yay. Um, but overall, I'm excited to continue this on, and I hope you do too. So for now, this is Bisa Eel signing out. Have a good night.